Hey YouTube, this is Agent Rep, and with me once again is
Journeyman Smith, and we are planning on finishing the Codex up for you.
yep. We only have 5 left, if I remember correctly. So, would you like to start?
That will be fine. Tevinter Society. To those outside of the Tevinter Imperium, it is easy to imagine a society filled with mages and elven slaves and little elves. In truth, there are 3 different Tevinters, each of them a world completely separated from the others. There are the mages, the land's nobility, completely obsessed with competing for supremacy with each other, no almost to the exclusion of paying any heed to the nation's enemies, such as the Qunari. The well-bred Altas sneer at the Latins, who in turn sneer at the Praetari. They vie for dominance in the magisterium, where factions shift and flow on a daily basis with deadly consequences, requiring every family to put on a veneer of perfect citizenship or face scandal and censure. Then there are the so-called Saparati, the sleepers. These are the non-magical citizens who vastly outnumber the mages, yet are beholden to their whims. Many are resentful of this status, plotting in secret, even as they secretly hope their children will possess magical talent. An enticing lure, since the talent could conceivably show up in anyone, even a slave. It would be easy to forget that Tevinter possesses a massive class of publicans, the civil servants, and leaders of the legionnaires. It has enormous merchant class, enough teeming poor to drown any other nation in Thedas, and the shadowy thieves called presumptor, who are practically treated with respect. And then there are the slaves, one they uh, who think they at least see each other as equals, but it is not so. The divide between the free lib- liberati, those who act as personal servants to magisters, those who work on farms and factories, and the servus publicus, who do all the tasks proper citizens will not. It is all but insurmountable, perhaps in emulation of those who own them. Imperial slaves will connive and scheme to try anyhow. Outsiders might see it as futile, but to Vinter's citizens, their nation's social classes are the most mutable and rewarding of merit in all of Thedas. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Gentivi.
The veil. I detest this notion that the veil is in some matter the in is some matter of invisible curtain that separates the world of the living from the world of spirits. Whether it be called the fade or the beyond is a matter of racial politics I refuse to indulge in at the moment. There is no this side and that side when it comes to the veil. One cannot think of it as a physical thing or a barrier or even a shimmering wall of holy light. Thank you very much for that image, your perfection. Think of the veil as instead as opening one's eyes. Before you opened them, you saw the world as you see it now, static, solid, unchanging. Now that they are open, you see our world as spirits see it, chaotic, ever-changing, a realm where the imagined and the remembered have as much substance as that which is real. More, in fact, a spirit sees everything as defined by will and memory. And this is why they are so very lost when they cross the veil. In our world, imagination has no substance. Objects exist independently of how we remember them, or what emotions we associate with them. Mages alone possess the power to change the world with their minds, and perhaps this forms the nature of a demon's attraction to them. Who can say? Regardless of the act of passing through the veil is much more about changing one's perception than a physical transition. The veil is an idea. is an act it is the act of transition itself. It is only the fact that both the living beings and spirits find the transition difficult that gives the veil any credence as a physical barrier at all. From the dissertation on the fade as a physical manifestation by Manuel, senior enchanter of the Manrafis Circle of Magi, 655 Steel.
Bitar. After extensive study of the Qunari specimens you kindly provided, I've come to the conclusion that the painted markings on their face and body are not in fact solely for ceremonial purpose, but provide a practical benefit. Oh, I'm certain there is some cultural significance to the patterns and colors they choose, but the Qunari do nothing without purpose. Yes? They call these markings vitar, which in their tongue means poison armor. It's called this because the markings are magical in nature and actually harden their skin to an iron-like quality without hindering flexibility. And my analysis says the paint consists largely of poison. It's mixed with something else, blood, perhaps their own, and that neutralizes the poison, but only for one with Qunari physiology. Anyone else would perish almost instantly, which reminds you, I'll kindly require another body slave. Which reminds me, I'll kindly require another body slave. The process activates the magical qualities of the poison, which provides the protective effects almost in the same manner that lyrium runes do. How this works and whether it can be used for our purposes will require further studies. Perhaps some live specimens this time? From a letter written by Nemeria Origanus, apprentice to Magister Varas, 932 Dragon.
Oh gosh.
Xenon, or Xenon.
Xenon? I think it's Xenon. I've encountered this character when I played the other games. I never remember how to pronounce his name. Xenon the Antiquarian. I left the Black Emporium mostly empty-handed for two reasons. First, most of the items were priced far beyond what I could afford. Second, I spent most of my short time there trying to sate my curiosity about its proprietor. I found myself stealing glances at the antiquarian from behind piles of books, between shelves, and at one point over a basket of mismatched socks. There he sat, petrified, in the center of the emporium, skin of waxy gray over ancient taunt sinew, moaning in a voice so dry and brittle it sounded like the snapping of twigs after a drought. A girl of not more than 12 scurried to and fro to fulfill his numerous requests. Another patron, thank you, noticed my fascination and told me that the girl, most likely an urchin rescued from the streets, was responsible for the needs of the antiquarian, feeding, washing, and the like. So impossibly old is he, and so fragile his skin can only be touched by the barest whispers of touches from the smallest and most tender of his servants. Only in this way can he come close to his lost youth, said the man. I was surrounded by objects of legend, and yet none fascinated me as did the antiquarian. From a journal page found in Carkwell's Darktown by an unknown author. That is actually a reference to the first game where you enter the Black Emporium, Dragon Age 2. We have one more codex to read.
Yes.
And it's the one I've been looking forward to the most. This one is actually changes depending on the background you choose.
So it's a letter dated 6 months ago. Eldwar, strife has finally given up. Eldwar. Win?
Yeah, it's Win.
Strife has finally given up sending teams out to rediscover the route that was lost. Without the magic in the map, the paths will not open, and the map is gone. I know it was difficult for him to make the final decision. You could see the angry vein in his forehead for days after. Now maybe
he could start to move past it. Most of the others have. But, of course, as the leader of the mission, he views your defiance and the outcome that resulted as something as a personal failure. We will give him time. You being away is a blessing, and we all hope that your work with Varric Tefris is going well. You will be glad to hear that some of the younger Veil Jumpers are excited about you being on the trail of the Dread Wolf himself. You must regale them upon your return. Ireland.
And that concludes what we have in the Codex for now. We will come up with other stuff and read them as they come in. But just to let you know, we will be back playing next time. So please like, subscribe, give us comments, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, tell us what you want to see, what you don't want to see, but just please keep it polite.
Bye.
Bye.